to my channel. Old Times is Not Forgotten. Are you a model train buff? Well, I think you may just enjoy this video. It has some footage from the 40s to the 60s about model trains and their owners. Enjoy.
The story of the railroads is the dramatic story of progress in transportation, from the earliest horse-drawn coach to the streamliner of today. We laugh at the thought of a horse outracing a locomotive, but that's what happened a little more than a century ago when one of the first steam-driven passenger trains in America, the Tom Thumb, came in a poor second to Old Dobbin. But Tom Thumb grew into a giant, and Old Dobbin was left far behind. Years of progress changed the size, power, and speed of these chariots of the rails, and a railroad engineer became something of a hero. More than just a story of progress, railroading became part of the drama of America's dynamic growth, from a frontier society to a great nation whose mighty cities and farms and factories are linked by bands of steel. Just as America has grown apace with the phenomenal progress of its railroads, so does young America grow up with model trains. The American boy who dreams of someday becoming an engineer spends many happy hours playing with realistic models like the ones displayed in this wonderful showroom. These miniature lines have most of the features of real railroads: stations, switches, tunnels, bridges, signal towers, even realistic scenery. And the little engines and cars are amazingly accurate, perfect to the tiniest detail. What hours of fun and excitement are spread out here before the delighted gaze of a little boy. Railroads have come a long way since the days of Tom Thumb, and model railroads have come a long way since the days of the spring winder Dad used to play with when he was a boy. Dad was born too soon. Look what he missed. Electricity runs the little streamliners and freight trains. It operates the switches and signal towers and the other intricate devices that make model railroading as wonderfully interesting and complicated as the real thing. To a boy who dreams of growing up to be the engineer of a big, black, powerful steam engine, the hours of apprenticeship spent on a small-scale line are richly rewarding. Here he is king. Here at his bidding the trains start and stop, the whistles blow, the lights flash, the switches turn. He is lord and master of all the railroad he surveys. Generations of American boys have looked longingly at models like these, have asked generations of American fathers to buy them trains like this, and have cluttered up living rooms with yards and yards of track to the dismay of generations of American mothers. As long as there are youngsters, there will be model trains and all the other paraphernalia that make model railroading the big thrill in a little boy's life. Sleep comes easily to little boys, and so do dreams. In his dreams, he travels fast and far into history. He is Ben-Hur racing his chariot in the Colosseum of ancient Rome. He is skipper of a full-rigged ship, captain of a clipper rounding the Horn. He feels a kinship with John Paul Jones. The adventure and romance of travel are woven into the fabric of his dreams, and he sails on through the night. He is a decorated ace and takes off in a jet fighter. Up, 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 flying faster than the speed of sound, faster than the speed of dreams. Now he cries, "Geronimo!" and bails out over enemy territory. Of course, he dreams about trains. How could he help it after that visit to the model train exhibit? He doesn't wait till he grows up to become the engineer. He just dreams he's one. He dreams he's Casey Jones, that fearless, brave engineer famed in story and song. And he is all set for the fastest, most exciting train ride in history, to the coast and back, non-stop, in the time it takes to dream it. Oh, boy! The world is a dream, and a dream is a train. As Casey Jones sits in the cab of his locomotive and thunders across the country. Cities and farms roll past in a vast panorama of sight and sound. Just wait till Skinny and the other kids hear about this. Won't they be jealous? The fires burn, and the steam sings, and the wheels turn. The train picks up dust in Kansas and lets it down again in Oklahoma. The whistle blows in Florida, and they hear it in Vermont. The smoke rises over the prairie, and they see it in the city. Lickety-cut, lickety-cut, listen to the clickety-click. We're coming through like a falling star. So back you autos, back you cows. I'm coming as fast as the law allows. Driver of a crack cross-country express, our pint-sized Casey Jones has been bitten by the railroad bug for good. Asleep or awake, he will hear the rumble of the wheels singing in his ears the rest of his life.
When the locomotives move out of the roundhouse onto the turntable, ready to be coupled to a long freight, it's pretty hard to tell they are only models. The originals of this man's beautifully detailed models are operated today on the New York Central, B&O, Santa Fe, Chesapeake and Ohio, Pennsylvania, and many others. Miniature railroading really began with the toy trains, but then, like today, they were used primarily at Christmas time. But you know what happened? Dad became interested. He began to think of trains not only as a seasonal toy to be put away with the ornaments and lights, but something that could be developed into a hobby for men as well as older boys. Before long, a new hobby was born. Now, this new hobby was to become known as scale model railroading. It wasn't long until model manufacturing companies were formed. Their designers began to scale down the blueprints of real locomotives and cars. The scale they used was termed O-gauge. The idea of scale model railroading spread rapidly. It wasn't long until men were building and operating well-detailed miniature railroads. As model railroading grew, more and more men realized that it was a fascinating hobby, something a man could show to his friends, something he could really be proud of. By 1935, 4,000 hobbyists were building their railroads. The growth of the hobby was steady, reaching 18,000 active builders by 1941. During the war, the hobby growth was slower, but doctors in rehabilitation centers found that assembling locomotives and cars was a great help in therapeutic treatment. After the war, model railroading began to grow more rapidly than ever before. By 1947, there were over 38,000 builders throughout the country. An interesting fact is that at no time has the hobby leveled off in its popularity. New modelers are enthusiastic. They often get together over the luncheon table, where a newly assembled car kit gets more attention than the apple pie. In 1950, there were 104,000 model layouts in operation. Today, more than 200,000 men and women from ages 15 to 80 and from all walks of life, skilled workers, clerical men, farmers, business executives, salesmen, professional men, and many others are building and operating model railroads in their own homes. Students in secondary or high school find that electrical problems are more easily understood through their experiences in model railroading. Many school directors and teachers have found that model programs develop teamwork and good fellowship among students, as well as having educational values. On the campus of numerous colleges and universities, students have started their model railroading career. They have found it to be an excellent means of relaxation from study. Today, throughout the country, there are more than 2,000 model railroad clubs. It takes a lot of careful planning to develop a track plan that will keep all the members busy. Each man in a club is often a specialist in his field, but it takes the teamwork of all to build a club-sized railroad. Whether you build at a club or in your own home, you will want to incorporate all the realism of actual railroads into your plans. The three-railed tin-plated track sections of the toy train has been replaced in scale model railroading by authentic two-rail track. But more attention is given to detail. Solid metal rail is fastened to wood ties or solid track supports, providing a smooth running surface. Fine gravel resembling stone is often added for ballast, just as is done in laying track in real railroads. Tin plate cars and locomotives, like those in the foreground, are made so they can negotiate the sharp curves of the tin-plated track and switches. But in scale modeling, proportions are exactly reduced from real railroad equipment. Much of the material used in building model railroads can be obtained in one of the nation's 4,500 hobby shops.
Talking of models, the other day I heard about a very exciting model that's been built in one of the big London stores. Well, it's really one that we couldn't have in the Blue Peter studio because it took 140 hours just to lay the track.
This magnificent layout took a whole year to build. But this isn't surprising when you know that it's got 1 mile of track that covers over 900 square feet and that over 45,000 yards of cable have been wired into it to make it work. There are 100 working trains on this layout that go through tunnels, over bridges, over viaducts, and some of them even go up mountains. But that's not all. There are buildings of every shape and size. There are over 8,000 figures. There are over 1,000 model vehicles. There are helicopters, aeroplanes, trolleybus routes, tram routes, oceans with ships. In fact, you name it, and this layout's probably got half a dozen of them hidden away somewhere. There are thousands of models depicting panoramas of many European countries. I wonder how many you can recognize. But there's something else on this layout that you won't find anywhere in Europe. It's this city of the future. This is the largest and most complex layout I've ever seen. But to make it all even more fantastic, the whole layout can be changed from day into night.